At this point, we've talked about the different types of notes based on how they look and how their appearance deals with the rhythm of music. You also learned that silence is counted as well with its own set of symbols. But there are two other symbols that you really need to know before we move on to reading the names of the notes. And those are ties and dotted notes. Occasionally in music, you see a curved line going from one note to the next note, as in this example. This is another rhythm notation, and it's called a tie. Ties are used to connect two notes with the same pitch to make a longer note. A tie literally ties together each note value. A simple example would be two half notes tied together. This would mean you'd hold the note for a total of 4 counts. Well, now that you understand the concept, let's try an example you might see. Here's a half note tied to an eighth note. This will give us 2 beats plus a half a beat, which equals 2.5 beats. And if it appeared in a musical phrase, its length would sound like this. Since there's no note value for a 2.5 beat note, the tie gives us the length of the note, which we actually need. So here's another example of where you may see a tie. What if we wanted to create a sound that lasted for 3 beats? Well, a half note tied to a quarter note would give us a total of 3 beats. And if it appeared in a musical phrase, its musical duration would sound like this. Many times ties are used at the end of a measure to carry over into the next measure. Now that you understand that ties simply tie or add together the beat count of the following note, view these examples, see if you can guess the answer before it appears. Now here's where we can learn one final bit of notation. We just learned that a half note tied to a quarter note equals 3 beats. There's still another way to write this duration of 3 beats, and it's really common in music. It's called a dotted half note. It's a half note with a small dot added to the right. When you see this combination, it also means the half note gets 3 beats. That's because the purpose of the dot is to extend the associated note's duration by half of its original value. So a half note equals 2 beats, and the dot adds another 50% of that half note value, which is 1 more beat. So 2 beats plus 1 beat are 3 beats. Takes a little bit of math to understand how the dot works, so let's try another one. How about a dotted quarter note? Well, a regular quarter note would be 1 beat, and the dot means add another half of that 1 beat. So together, this note would be held for 1.5 beats. Most dotted notations are a shortcut for writing ties. To read music quickly, it's best to memorize the length of dotted notes the same way that you know the length of a standard note. So to help you put it all together, see how well you do guessing the following beat counts. It's a mix of everything that we've covered so far.